I noticed. I have a friend of mine. I'm from Canada, and I'm in Vancouver. I have a friend of mine opening a brewery there, craft brew, and craft beer and everything. And it's been a really cool process watching what he's been going through. And I noticed that he has been getting a lot of support from the craft beer companies. It's not as competitive as one would think. I mean, it's competitive from the people picking a spot to drink. And I'm sure it's the same in coffee, where people have to decide where they're, getting their coffee from. And it's a constant battle to get your product out there. But there's not, there seems to be a real support system in place, though, for roasters and people that are in this journey and trying to put out the best product, like, as you said, on a daily basis. Yeah. I am currently in Jacksonville. I was hanging out yesterday, the last couple of days, with a couple of different breweries here and roasters and just people that are doing, coffee and beer, coffee and wine and little cafes and things like that. And one of the places that I stumbled upon was a place called the Flamingo. And that team has got this really cool little cafe going where they're doing, specialty beer and wine and coffee. And the coffee was really, really great. And Paul from there mentioned to me, when they were up and running, that they reached out to you and you reached back out to them to give them some advice on opening up. So it was impressive to me that, even at the level, and, everyone's got a top level, and I would deem yours being the top coffee in the world. So to make the time for these guys opening up is a real, real tip in your hat, and also to even come on a podcast like this that's just starting. So I did reach out to Paul, and when I told him that you were coming on, and he said he had a question for you. Right. That he wanted to ask. And I've also was able to talk to one of our guests from a couple of weeks ago named Jeremy Gersey, and he is a roaster out of LA and Las Vegas that does a lot of specialty blends for actors, bands, plus he's all over Hollywood with his stuff, and he sent over a handful of questions. So if you don't mind, I'm going to take a couple of questions, quote unquote, from our audience, and we'll do a little Q&A.
Let's do it.
So stand by. So first on the line will be Paul from Flamingo with a question for you. So here you go, sir.
Yo, my brothers. This is Paul Jackson Carr from Jacksonville, Florida. I'm one of the proud owners of the Flamingo Coffee Bar. We're located in the beautiful Sunshine State, the city of Jacksonville, in the Murray Hill area. Brother Brent, first off, I appreciate you so much for putting this on. I'm honored to know you and to have met you, and I'm stoked to have this opportunity to ask Brother Tim a question. Brother Tim, first off, man, I respect you so much. I'm honored to throw a question at you. I just want to first off tell you how much I appreciate you and everything you do. From someone that works in coffee as a barista to now a cafe owner, to be able to receive the information that you put out and to apply it into my cafe and our coffee scene. It's incredible. I appreciate you so much. So my question is, where do you see coffee in the next 5 years? Where do you see the cafe in the next 5 years? I'm curious, what's your 5-year plan? What's your 10-year plan? What are you thinking down the road when it comes to the future of coffee?
Wow, that's a question I get a lot, and it's always difficult to answer. But I think we will see a lot of consolidation and a lot of roasting companies also maybe closing. Just like with microbreweries, they had like a huge kind of boom many years ago, and we're seeing that in coffee today. And I think it's getting quite competitive. And there's a couple of things that happens in the market at the moment is that a lot of roasters are looking to get cheaper coffees because they think they can compete on price. And that's, is not great for the coffee farmers. And then you also see other roasters doing really well, while some roasters are not doing so well. So I think we're going to see some consolidation in the market. And hopefully we're also going to see better coffees coming into the market, because on the farmer side, we do see more and more farms getting professionalized and accessing great varieties and experimenting with processes. So I think we're going to see a lot more exciting coffees also in the market, despite that, some roasters might disappear and some might consolidate and so on. Technology-wise, I don't really know. I'm hoping that we'll get even better roasting machines that will help us, roast coffee even better. Feel like that's the kind of the biggest challenge today is not to brew coffee better, but to actually roast coffee better. And also maybe coffee grinders should get better. But, I don't think any technology will make the coffee much better than it is today, because in the end, it's just water and coffee mixed together somehow. So from the farming side, that's the kind of where I'm most excited. We will see better coffees coming into the market and new varieties and so on.
Thanks, Paul, for your question. Thanks for that, Tim. As you roll through the process of finding your beans, you're discovering the world of the business. And what's your take on what's happening there's a lot of controversies in the coffee business right now with the way people are being worked, or where people are getting their beans from, and sometimes there's women and children involved that are working long hours all days and for little pay. What is your take on that? I mean, how are you trying to combat that with the way that your method of finding your beans and being conscious of trying to find the best farmers that are doing the best for the city environments? Like, what's your take on that side of the business right now?
Well, this is something that I probably speak about this every day, actually, because there's a lot of I would say misinformation in our industry, and a lot of people claiming things that might not be exactly true. But because I'm staying on a farm for at least 3 months a year in Colombia, because I own my own farm, I bought a piece of land from a farmer that I buy coffee from, and I spent 3 months a year there farming or working on my farm myself. So I stay in his house and I get to talk to Elias a lot. And he is telling me stories, and, I can see what people are doing in the Colombian market, at least the buyers, some of them claiming that they're, paying very good prices. But when it all comes down to it, it's, not sustainable for the farmers to sell the coffees for those prices, even though they're higher than the market price. So one of the issues in coffee is that most people are looking to the international coffee exchange, or the ICE price, or the market price for commodity coffee, which is today around $1, and $1 per pound of green coffee. And the production cost is more often than not higher than $1 per pound for a farmer. So that means the farmers are losing money when they produce coffee. So before we even can start talking about, paying the workers better and so on, we have to start paying more for the coffee. And the problem is that in specialty coffee, people still compare themselves to the market price of commodity coffee. But to produce good coffee, you need to take more care. You need to pay the pickers more to pick only ripe coffee cherries. You need to be more kind of hands-on with the process and drying and storage and milling. So it costs a lot more to produce that coffee than the normal commodity coffee that you'll typically find in the supermarkets. So if, for instance, a roaster say, I'm a specialty roaster and I pay 20% above market price, and if they're referring to the C market, then that means they're still not paying for production costs. So fortunately, there's someone doing something about that today, and there's a group of roasters who, including myself, who have signed something called the pledge, where we kind of are obliged to publish the prices that we're paying for our coffees and how much we're buying and so on. And based on this kind of numbers, we can start to establish what is actually a market price for good coffees. And then maybe that's, $3 or $3.50. And then if you're paying lower than that, you're actually paying below market price and not above market price, which would normally be the thing.
So when they're paying below market prices, that puts the onus on the farmer to, pay less to the workers, correct?
Yeah, of course. I mean, the one thing is for sure in coffee, and that is the farmer is the only person in this kind of chain that is not making money at the moment. And of course, there are many exceptions, and we are paying good prices, and there are also many other roasters paying good prices for the coffee. And the reason why I'm doing it is not out of charity. It's because they are my suppliers, and I see them as kind of an extension of my team here in Norway. So if I'm not paying them well, they're not going to produce, coffee for me. And I've also been working with more or less the same farmers since 2009. And, it's a long-term project that we have together in order to improve the quality of the coffee on their farm. And we're working together. It's not like I'm going down there and dictating them what to do. I'm visiting them. We're discussing new ideas and also new kind of investment projects for the farms in order for them to improve the quality of the coffee. And as long as they're kind of determined to do that, I'm determined to buy the coffee for a good price, and they know that. So we don't have a contract written or anything. We're more or less friends, and it's a gentleman's agreement. They know that I'm going to buy X amount of bags of coffee every year, and when they know that, they can also invest in the farm and also in the processes that I am requiring them to do in order to be able to sell the coffee to me. So
that's in Colombia. How long of that process was it to find the right spot? I mean, how many places did you have to look at to find the right bean? Because I'd imagine that Colombia is a huge country with a huge coffee business, and then you found your acreage. And your spot. So
it's not the best land in the world, that's for sure. But for me, it's not only about finding the best coffee. It's about actually finding the best potential and also the right people. And when you own your own farm, which I don't really recommend people buying a farm if they don't want to live on the farm, but when you're buying a farm in Colombia and you're not going to live on it, you need a person you can trust to help you and take care of the land when you're not there and so on. And Elias is one of those people. I mean, I see him more than I see my mom and dad all together, and because I stay with him for 3 months a year, and they're basically become family. And we talk about everything, even if I can immediately tell if he's upset about something. I can tell, and then we try to talk about it. But Colombia, is a huge country. They have 500,000 coffee producers, more or less, and they all more or less grow the same varieties, but in different climatic conditions. And the problem there is that very often when I went there, I would taste good coffee, but it would never come from the same person. And that's just because they don't have enough money to kind of invest in paying the pickers a good price to only pick ripe cherries. They don't know that if they invest that money into the coffee, they don't know if they're gonna get that money back when they sell it. So that's why I'm kind of working with one producer there, and have been working with him for many years now. And every year we try to improve something on the coffee, and we do experiments. But we have a protocol that he needs to follow, and we agree about X amount of bags that he's going to do that protocol, and that because he produces more coffee than I can buy, and he's not able to sell all this coffee for a good price. So
thanks for stopping by, friends, to the Brenton on Tour podcast channel on YouTube. Coffee, music, travel, life, all of those things, one page, lots of guests, lots of chatter. We talk about all of it. If you like it, subscribe, hit the thumbs up button, leave a comment. I'll get back to you. Thanks, friends. See you next time.